Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about being able to recognize the difference between what is important and what is urgent, what is not important and not urgent. And you will see behind me that I have created 4 quadrants. One is urgent and important. Another one is urgent, not important. One is important but not urgent. And the last one is not important and not urgent. The first thing I want to ask you is, which of the 4 quadrants do you feel that you should be in most of the time to ensure that you are going after your goals? So out of these 4 potentials, where should you be? Which one is going to be the most productive? If you guessed important, not urgent, you're absolutely right. Let's talk about some of the other categories. Not important, urgent category. What are some of the things that you think are going to fit into the not important but urgent category? I'm going to share with you the number one thing that I see people doing these days that puts them into this category and that often keeps them in there quite a bit, which is not a productive category to be in and really hinders their progress. And one of those things is the cell phone and any sort of pings or beeps, text messages, Facebook messages, Instagram messages, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever notifications that you're getting of things that aren't actually helping you achieve your goals or work towards your goals, but are calling your attention. I see this so often where people think that they're actually sitting down and doing work, and what they're doing is they're constantly being distracted by these things that really are not important but appear to be urgent because they're popping up on their screens. So when you are trying to focus and do deep work or learn something new, I know one of my episodes talks about the environment that you're in, and this is also a big part of the environment. What are the things that are knocking on your door, taking your energy away or your concentration away from what matters most? And so this is something that I want you to be very aware of and tune in and pay attention to. How long are you able to focus on a task and do a really great job at that task and stay in that zone, in that work zone, before a ping, a ding, a notification pops up? So your homework right now is to eliminate or remove those obstacles. So take some inventory and say, what are the things that are coming up for me that are distracting me from actually moving forward and getting the work done for one of the most important things? If you're a student and you're studying and you have your phone on and it's pinging, but you have your book in front of you, are you actually studying? If you're working full time and you get home from work and there's a hobby or something that you want to do, a goal you want to achieve, maybe an evening course that you're taking, or just a task that you want to do, is your phone interrupting you? Are you getting notifications, pings, dings that are impacting your ability to stay focused on that task? And what I find is that people end up taking 5-10 times as long as they actually need to complete a task because their focus is constantly taken away by a phone or some other not important, urgent thing that pops up in front of us and distracts us from what matters most. I've seen this over and over again throughout my career. I've noticed it on myself. I've removed every sound. My phone is on silent. I essentially don't answer it. The best way to get in touch with me is to text me, and when I'm taking those breaks, I'll pop back in. But even knowing it and practicing it, I find myself caught into that vortex a lot of times. And what I can tell you is that every time you're distracted by a ping or a ding or a notification that takes you out of that deep learning zone that you're working towards when you're working towards your goals and dreams, that it takes you about 20 minutes to get back in. So you can imagine most people are getting pings and dings that they're not actually able to do any of that deep work, which means even though they're making progress, they could be making 10 times, 20 times, 100 times of progress by eliminating that distraction. So think of things in your life that are called upon and that you're dropping things for that really aren't important to your long-term goals or really don't need that attention, but the urgency of them, that noise, that phone call, the whatever it is that feels like it gets your attention, but it actually doesn't need it in the moment. So that's one of the categories. Urgent, but not important. Let's talk about urgent and important. So those are the things that are coming due very soon that might call your attention. Perhaps you are meeting a client. Perhaps you are studying for a test and the test is in an hour or it's tomorrow. That's probably really important to you and there's some urgency in it. Urgency and important might also be that your kid is sick and the school is calling and you need to drop everything and pick them up right away or tend to them. Those are some examples of what is important and what is urgent. Then we have not urgent and not important. So not urgent and not important are things like maybe watching your favorite TV show. Now we can record and go back and watch it later at a time when we have some time available. But that's probably not important to you reaching whatever goal you're going after. And there's probably no urgency for you to watch that show. So that's an example for that category. And then our favorite category where we want to be in this important but not urgent, this is where we want to live as much as we possibly can. Because this tells us that we are in control of our time, that we're working towards things that are important to us, and that we haven't procrastinated on them to put them to that urgency or that deadline. So we don't have that 5 o'clock deadline and it's 4:50 and now we're rushing to put it together and not doing a good job putting it together. This is the important but not urgent when we're talking about going towards our goals. So the example that I'll give is learning photography. If I don't have an evaluation or a test, if I'm learning that skill or taking a course for another week, but I'm working on that skill today because I've carved out some time and it's important to me, but there's no urgency for me to do it. So I'm actually putting together my portfolio of photos that I'm going to submit a week early, and I'm starting to collect those pictures and edit them and do whatever it is that I need to do way before the anticipated deadline. And when we can carve out time and we can live in that quadrant, we're going to feel better, we're going to have less anxiety, we're going to be able to accomplish a lot more, especially when we get rid of the pings and dings. So if there's one thing that you take away from this particular video, I would say go through and look at all the things that distract you from what's important to you most and start to make those changes. So maybe it's turning off the ringer of your phone, setting an alarm for 20-30 minutes and promising yourself that you're going to put that phone down, not look at it, and you're going to work on whatever that dream is. You're going to make those 5 phone calls, you're going to write that first paragraph, you're going to watch that first video on how to achieve that goal. Whatever it is, setting these little mini goals, eliminating all the distractions that are that urgent and unimportant, and really going for it. I would love to hear how this works for you. I would love to hear in the comments what it is that you did to help improve your time. People always talk about the fact of multitasking and they maybe have some music on or something. And I would question you and say, like, are you distracted by any of that? Do you have music with lyrics? Are you listening to classical stuff without lyrics? What are you listening to? And is your environment around you supportive of you going after your goals? I'm also going to recommend that you maybe do a little test for yourself where you have the pings and dings on and you set a goal for yourself and you time the start and when you complete that task, and then you do that thing where you turn off every possible distraction on your phone and put the phone down and work on a similar or the same task and time and see how long it takes you to complete it. So this is a little bit of self-discovery. You can have a little bit of fun with it and really start to get to know yourself and what is working for you, what are some of your barriers, and really think about this matrix. Where are you living? Where do you want to be? What is your goal? And what are the small things that you can do to help get you there? Thank you so much for listening. I look forward to our next session together.